question you want to ask Evelyn or PC Wong, you can use the Q&A box. So for the response, I'll just use the chat box, because chat box, people are chatting, and your question will be flooded and pushed up, and it's very hard to monitor. So everybody, how is the new year? Like, do you have any resolution for the new year? What are you trying to achieve in the new year? Can you maybe type in the chat box? What's like your resolution? Is it to lose weight or to make more money? Things like that. Just type in the chat box. Let us know.
Share with us for me as PC, I always want a good resolution.
Yeah, resolution. You mean on screen, is it?
Yeah, screen.
Okay. High
resolution.
No, I don't know. I have a second monitor, so usually I have another monitor, and the monitor I prefer it to be low resolution, because when it's high resolution, the font is too small, and so even it's high resolution, I'll have to make the font big.
Oh, you have to reset again.
Yeah.
For me, I think my new resolution, I just want to be healthy. That's the most important thing.
I guess it's for most of us, right? When we want to get more age a little bit, then we are like concerned about health. It happens to all my friends all around us.
Yeah, health is actually wealth.
Yes. Yeah. So okay, without further ado, it's 11 o'clock. So thanks everybody for attending this webinar. And we have two book authors here. We have PC Wong and also Evelyn Tan. And they are going to share with us what it is we're going to expect for 2023. And they actually come up with a new book. It's called the 2023 Water Rabbit Year Astrology and Global Trends Forecast ebook. And you'll get to know more about the ebooks. But basically, this session, they're going to share a lot of their findings, and see whether this is something helpful to you. So thank you everybody for attending. Without further ado, I'll invite Evelyn. She have years working in the corporate, and then now she's on her own doing astrology, and also partner with PC, who is a master trainer of Invest Bond Share, who look at the economic trends and look at stocks around the world, and he do research on stocks every day. And in fact, he's one of my partner in the Invest Foreign Share online course. So it's welcome, PC and Evelyn.
Yeah, thank you, Casey, and thank you all who are logging in at this time.
Okay, awesome. So shall we start with Evelyn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Casey, and also PC. Good morning to every one of you who tune in. Thank you for having me. So today, actually, we are going to talk about a very special innovation, and that both PC and I have, and we have put our thoughts all into a book. Okay, so I think everyone, after 2022, I would believe that everyone will find it challenging, but some finds a very big opportunity in 2022 as well. So after a very volatile year of 2022, I'm sure everyone is looking forward to 2023, right? And also, we'd like to know what 2023 has in store for all of us. Okay, so we will use two approach to predict or forecast what 2023 has. One is through Chinese astrology, and also an in-depth research of the global trends to forecast 2023. So this is two things combined into one. Okay, and from this forecast, definitely when you have a forecast, you will be able to identify opportunity and threats better, right, in your investment, and it will give you a better, more accurate prediction on what will happen. and you sort of, can see the opportunity better also and the trends. Okay, so the talk agenda for today is I would like to introduce you to Chinese astrology and 5 elements, because global trends and Chinese astrology seems like 2 separate things. One looks like, more like superstitious, and another is really very scientific global trends. I am going to show you this morning that Chinese astrology is not something about superstitious. It's about the study of energy and how it is used to also forecast global trend in the past, when there were ages that no sophisticated software to compile data and everything. So this is how Chinese astrology works, and it is an energy that can be used to forecast the future. So here, in the first section, I'm going to show you that and how it correlates to Chinese astrologies and global trends. And also, PC sections will review about 2023 on the economy, the financial, and the geopolitical trends that he looks at from the in-depth research on the data that is available today to sort of predict the future trend also. So we have a conclusion, and I also have a surprise gift for everybody. So do stay until the end, okay? Yeah, let's look at, just a general search on the internet. What most economists predict in 2023. So a lot of people predicted that there will be inflation. The economy will shrink, but it does not tell you, how serious it is. It looks like gloomy, just increasingly gloomy. And some, looks like, there will be a 5% growth. So you can see that, it's a mix of good and bad. In this age, where we have information, there's too much information everywhere, okay? Because the mainstream media, the CNN, BBC, they are talking about these things, Bloomberg, and the mainstream, that we so-called mainstream. And also there are a lot of KOL, key opinions leaders or influencers also have their YouTube channels to talk about it as well. So we do not know, who is true, who is not true. So, but something that I can tell you, that there is a method that I am using also to filter out those information to have a more accurate data. And I'm an engineer by training. So I always believe that accurate data will always lead to more accurate actions. Okay. Yeah. For those who do not know me, let me just make a brief introduction about myself. Actually, I am an engineering professional by training. And I always have a passion towards Chinese metaphysics, Chinese astrology. And for more than 10 years, I've learned with several Chinese metaphysics masters. And from here, I also realized that actually it can use for wealth. It can use to sort of forecast wealth management. And I use it today after I retired from corporate world, that I do consultancy, that I use it to help my client in achieving results through, forecasting through the eye of divine, more of an eye of divine, or the energy of studies, the forecast pattern that, what to do next. So this is what I'm doing today. Okay. At the same time, I'm also a course creator. I also create, quality. I was in supplier quality management with my engineering background, where for the past 30 years, I work with MNCs. I work in MNCs, and also have managed over hundreds of manufacturing companies as a supplier quality engineering professionals. with companies like LG, Panasonic, Motorola, globally from China to South America. And I currently, upon my retirement from the corporate world in 2020, I have, authored 4 books. 3 of them are related to sort of, engineering and manufacturing engineering. And I also share my experience in, the corporate world and beyond. I have also actually appeared in Casey's platform last year, I think, to talk about this book and also what people needs to, prepare for the future. So currently I co-authored this 2023 Water Rabbit Astrology and Global Trend Forecast together with PC Wong. I also have 2 YouTube channels. Actually, I like to create, so I create a lot of things. So let's look at the first agenda of, Chinese astrology, 5 elements, and how, these studies can use for global trends forecast. So actually, if those that have a little bit of background on Chinese astrology, I think let's do a quick poll on the audience here, just a quick chat. For the audience that log in today here, how many of y'all have a little bit of background on Chinese metaphysics and the 5 elements? Can you just give me a 1?
Type 1 in the chat box, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them, yes. Like Juki, Kenny.
Yeah.
Raymond, Enda, Clement, PT, Margaret. Awesome. Chu. YM. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad to see that. I think those Chinese metaphysics Sifu or masters have done a good job in proliferating this knowledge. So I want to start first by looking at the solar system. Okay. So this is Earth here. This is Earth where we are. And then in the olden days, they look at, the movements of the planet. But unfortunately, people cannot differentiate planets and stars in the olden days. 星球跟星星. So they have, they just say the stars. And in the olden days, people don't have internet, don't have TV, they have nothing to do, right? So every night they go and look at the stars, check the movement, record the movement, and they will start to correlate, this is like, it's like an energy pattern that impact us. It's actually more than a few thousand years of knowledge of this one. So what they have, sort of realized, actually, we can only see 5 planets from Earth, even till today, if you are in astronomy, okay? I also like astronomy. So we cannot see Neptune, we cannot see Uranus. So these 2 discounted. That's why we have 5 elements. Mercury represents water, then wood represents another element. So they find that all these elements, they have a certain roles to play in our human lives, okay? In human lives, in the macro economy and in the micro level, it also impacts us, like through our birth charts, that we will know, the energy, what our energy level is, what our energy level is. So I will explain a little bit about that also, okay? So these are the 5 planets of the focus, and they also realize that Mercury has a water energy, which is more free-flowing, something that's free-flowing, water-related. Then Venus is metal energy, which is more an execution, okay? And Mars is actually fire energy, and that fiery. Then Saturn is earth, and also Jupiter is wood energy. You will realize that Saturn and Jupiter are actually the biggest planet in the solar system, okay? And definitely when something is big, their energy will be greater. So they will have a very great impact on Earth. And if we are from a Chinese culture, maybe from young, your parents, tells you about Tai Sui, Duke of Jupiter every year. And even the Feng Shui master also says that, You know, every year, if your place, your sector, your house, you know, there is a Duke of Jupiter, don't go and break ground, don't go and disturb, or you will have, you know, calamity and all these things. That's because Jupiter is the biggest planet and it's the leader. So any animal signs that, you know, the 12th position of a planet is represented, the 12th branch of 12th animal sign. Then if Jupiter is in that animal sign position, like next year is rabbit, this year is tiger. So that one will be the leader, the Jupiter, the Duke of Jupiter of the year. So this is also some side interest. So this is actually all energy. And if you don't have energy, how could all these planets, you know, stay on the orbit? And from there, they will radiate frequencies that will also impact the Earth. Okay. And actually, there are many cultures. Chinese is not the only one who look at the stars, the movement of star and all these things. There are other cultures like Indian cultures, maybe the Egyptians, and maybe also the Muslim, they look at the stars. But what makes Chinese, I don't say that Chinese astrology is more accurate than others, but what sets them apart or differentiate that is the records. That's the most important thing, because if you are from a Chinese education background, you will realize that we have a lot of Chinese historians that records a lot of things very accurately. And this is how we correlate all these things, and it becomes more, you know, sort of more accurate in the sense is because of the history data that we have are more complete. Okay, so far? And
so far, so good.
Yes. Okay. So in terms of this, then as I stated, all this, how do we know that the energy of the movement, even our birthday also, how do we know, you know, the energy we have? It's because in the ancient days, they have already plotted that, you know, certain times, certain years, and certain days will have certain energy patterns. They have put all these things into a tools, what they call as a 10,000 year calendar. And the almanac, the tongseng that we have is actually also from there. It stems from there also, because in the ancient days, people needs to look at an almanac. If you know the histories or the tongseng, is more for agricultural activities, because that one was the main economic activities of those days. Okay, so what happened is that they can translate the time, the year, the month into a 5 energy chart like this. Okay, so they will know that the year will have, you know, water energy here, wood energy here. This is actually the energy map of 2023, 4th of February, the Li Chun chart. And this was set the prediction for the year. And I think if you are not new to Chinese astrology or Chinese metaphysics, all the masters will use these charts to interpret and determine what is it for the next year. Okay, so even birthday also, when we are born, we are at the moment you can see 4 pillars, right? The year, what month, day, and hour, right? So from there also, you know your internal energy. And this is actually the focal point of the whole chart. That means this is the day masters of the base energy or the driver of the whole chart. I will explain more in the next few slides. So, however, today people didn't realize that it was, you know, using 10,000 calendar, 10,000 years calendar to calculate. Because today we have software, so you just key in everything, they will translate for you. I think some of you who are familiar with this will have used the software before. Okay, to do this, and all this energy, they are actually in a cycle. That means we will have wood create fire, fire create earth, earth create metal, metal will, you know, draw in water, and then water will also create, you know, wood. And also they have countering relationship and weakening relationship. When the wood creates fire, the wood will become weaker because it's been exhausted by fire. And wood will definitely counter earth because it will control the earth and the movement of the earth. But however, it has also been counter that the metal will counter the wood as well. So all these are, that's why all this chart, the focal point is here. Then we will look at the rest of the element, how they relate to each other. So this is how we sort of quote or read the chart, and it can be used for individual, so-called destiny reading, and also for global economy trends. Okay. So and also these five elements here, they will also represent an economy sectors. So like wood is actually agriculture, fashion, or anything growing like education. Okay. And fire is the technology. Entertainment is also in fire. Then restaurants, energy are all fire. So on the year when fire is strong, last year I think the fire was also quite strong. Sorry, it's not yet. I mean 2022, this year the fire is so strong. That's why energy also receives some attention. When fire is strong, any of these five elements is strong, doesn't mean that the thing, you will make money from these things. It means, and it means that it is strong. It means that you will receive a lot of attention. Whether make money or not is totally a different thing. Okay, so it's not that simple. Don't just look at, oh, this year wow, wood very good. I must go and buy stocks related to wood. Yeah, I think this year wood that makes a lot of money, like plantation shares. They also goes up quite a lot this year. So it could also means that, but not necessarily that you have 100% indication of that. Okay, or it could be even worse the other way around. So to interpret the chart, it's not only from the first level. What I given you now is the first level. There are many levels down. It's like peeling and onions to second, third level to also understand the whole dynamics of the charts. So the fourth one is Earth. Sorry, the third one is Earth. So Earth is of course property, and this year I think property is very little. This year's chart. The raining year or the water tiger year. If you later, I will give you a link to my YouTube channel. You will take a look, and I also predicted that property is not going to be very prominent this year, and also the prices has also dropped, also very stagnant. Means that the thing is quite stagnant. Okay, for property market now, or there will be some challenges because you are not prominent. So natural resources, maybe insurance also is Earth because it's something that is very stable. Okay, so and then next one is metal. Metal will be those that related to finance, because money, a lot of metals need to a lot of golds and all this that determines the financial market. So it's financial, precious metal, heavy machinery, and all this, they are represented by the money, by the finances. So the last one is water. So logistic. This year 2022, I think the logistic is quite prominent because it's a water tiger year, and the water is a lot this year in the chart. So you can see that I think around May, that time the logistic having problems, the shipping, transportation, and all this is getting a lot of attention. So yeah, and also right now the tourism is back also. So water also represent fast-moving consumer goods, shipping, transportation, and tourism. If you want more information, you can refer to my YouTube channel later on. So we have completed this. Okay, so now we are now in this Chinese astrology and global trends. Okay, so as I say, from now we know the energy already. The energy will impact the Earth, right? Itself. Earth is actually the third planet from the sun. Okay, so it will give you, it will really give you a snapshot, an outlook into the year's harvest, because last time the primary activities of the ancient days is agriculture, and it will also give you a prediction of whether there's cold element or hot element in the chart. Okay, and it can forecast also disasters, and also the mankind, whether they will have a good year or not. Okay, so this is how we use. And energy never lies. Okay. Every influencer or KOL might not have, a very accurate information. I don't want to call them, they lie or exaggerate or what this. Maybe sometimes, they have not so accurate information. But we can always correlate our studies with this. This is also how I use this chart to also sort of, help me in my investment. And I don't rely on Chinese metaphysics alone. I also rely on, on global trend research. I'm also, with Casey Lau in some of his program as well. So this is how I correlate these two things together. And moreover, I would like to bring to everyone's attention. In the past 20 years, I'm from 2020s, from 2000 to 2020s, or 2000 2020s. In the past 20 years, we have a very good period. We call it period 8. How do we, know there's a transition in period? It's actually also from the planet 1, nothing else, very scientific. Okay, the astronomers term it as synodic cycle. And then the astrology will interpret it into energy, okay, of the period 20 years. So every 20 years, go and read astronomy. This is not what I say one. This is scientific research one. Every 20 years, there will be Jupiter and Saturn synodic cycle. That means both of these planets will overlap each other. And once they overlap, means that I think Saturn will take about 60 years to go around the planet. And I think Jupiter maybe is about 20 plus years, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So when they overlap with each other, it will signify an era change. And what the Chinese astrology, they number those eras. From 2000 to 2020, around plus minus 4 years, we are actually in period 8, so-called the Earth period now. So I will tell you what happened in the Earth. And then the energy transition already starts in 2017, okay, 2017. So 2017, the energy starts coming maybe 10%, 20%. And then in December 2020, there is an astronomy event, which is very great, called the Great Conjunction or 大年节. Okay, so these both planets, they conjure with each other. And why they are so special from the past 20 years or the past years is that they are the closest in so many 100 years. I think I do not know in 100 plus years. So they are the closest. When the two big planets, I already told you, big bodies means that big energy. And when they conjunct together like one star, it is actually a Christmas star. Maybe many thousands years ago, when people see a very bright star in the skies, that is recorded maybe in the Bible and all this, it also could be, the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn as well, that they see very early. So these two planets, they conjunct, that is when the energy of the next era starts to increase to about 50% or more. Right now, it's about 75 to 90% already. Next year will be the last year of the Earth era already, officially. Okay, so these few years is transitioning. That's why you can see things are very crazy, up, down. Suddenly the market, up. The Bitcoin is up. They make a lot of millionaires overnight, and suddenly goes down. Also, a lot of people lost money, bankrupt, and all these things. Okay, so it's quite sad also. So these are all, it's quite sad in a way. So this one, when the two planets, they're the nearest to each other, the energy will be the greatest. That means it's a very great change also in this aspect. And actually, we are transitioning into what we term as a fire period. And you don't have to, you don't have to this one. What you can do is go back and check year 2000 to 2020. Which element is the strongest? I mean, which economic sector is the strongest? Do you all know? Can someone give me feedback? Okay. In the last 20 years, officially, according to the book, is 2004 to 2023, because we are looking into full transition. Technology.
Someone said technology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So technology. Okay, never mind. It's okay. Let's technology is one of them, but it's actually only happens in these last 5 years if we look at it. So we look at the stable Earth era first. Here in this period, actually is what we call, if you know Chinese trigram, is actually called a Keng Gua. Okay, the 8 trigrams, in spite of I Ching, it's called Keng Gua. It's something like this. And this and this. It looks like a mountain. Actually, it's a mountain. This is a mountain top. I Ching is a very wonderful, subject that it is very, very visual, very picturesque, and very picture. Okay, and very pictorial. Okay, so in this era, we see that from year 2004, these are all young men, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, of course, some of them have passed away. And then Michael Dell, I used to work for Dell Computers, and also Mike Zuckerberg, they are all young men, because that time they were just, in the college. Some of them did not manage to graduate. They already become entrepreneurs. So you can see all young men come up, okay? And also financial boom. That time, I think the stock market was very good. The days was very good. And how we set to year 2004 era, if you remember, that SARS, okay, but it's not as big outbreak as the COVID-19. Because every era, when there's a transition, the energy will not be stable one. If you go and check the World War also, I have a video on transition of period. World War also happens in the transition of the period one. Okay, so and the boom, because of it's an Earth period, the biggest boom is actually the Earth. Okay, Earth in terms of, do you think that real estate? Yeah, Connie is right. Real estate. If you have invested by real estate at that point of the time, very high chance. I don't say 100%, because some people buy, they don't make money also, because this also align with their own internal energy one. It's not that everything people say good one, they go in, you will make money one. It does not work like this way one, or else everybody will be rich, because we also have our own internal energy. As I said, that when we are born, we also takes in the energy. Just now I show you the 4 pillar, the year, month, and all this chart. That internal energy has to correlate with the external energy in order to really make money. So okay, yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, correct, Connie. Yeah, you really have an insight into the period 9 already. So at that time, property is the boom, and I think most of the properties is going up like double or triple. Okay, if you know how to invest it properly. Okay, so now we are transitioning into period 9, fire period. This element to this element is really a big change. Last time period 7 to period 8, period 7 was a metal period. To period 8 is earth. So both elements are more subtle. So that's why things that transition is also quite subtle one, not so bad. But this time, from an earth to fire is quite big. So that that conjunction also shows that it's a very big energy. It's a very big changes. That's why these few years is really crazy. Okay, and also is into we call it a fire period, or we term it as Li Gua, just for the interest. Okay, Li Gua. Okay, Li Gua means that attention. Fire burning needs attention everybody see not like earth is down there one. Nobody want to see one. So we request a lot of attention. And also Li Gua represents middle-aged women of the family. Okay, I'm second daughter, means that middle-aged women. That's why you see, women start to come up in the corporate world. If you work in the corporate, you will find that chances of you working for a women boss at the middle age between okay, I will turn middle age about 30, 35 to about 50, 55, like this. Okay, so around this range of age. Okay, and so most of them, like Kamala Harris and Mary Barra, for the first time, GE is a very conservative company in US. GE is a very old company, very conservative, and in US, actually you don't see, they are open, but actually in a way, they are also quite segregated in terms of, this one, in terms of gender. Okay, so having worked in US company for so many years, I know how they operate. So it's the first time that they have women as a CEO for GE. So, and then a lot of women, middle-aged women entrepreneurs coming up also. This is Sarah Burkey of Sphinx, the pantyhose girl. Okay, so so this is where the thing comes in. So in terms of flickering fire also means just like I say, fire represent what? Technology, ma? So technology also comes along, especially the last few years. On the last 5 years, technology is like, booming like crazy. Okay. Yeah. So far, okay. So now let's go into the to look at this outlook of 2023. After I've explained all the 5 elements energy and how it can be used to to predict or to forecast a global trend. Next one, let's look at what is the outlook of 2023. Okay, this is actually my version of the chart because I like to put everything into picture. You cannot find this version in this format in software or anywhere else in the internet. Okay, so this one is you can see what is strong in this chart in 2023. This is the Li Chun chart that will determines the direction of next year. Okay, the arrival of spring, the 4th of February. Every year it will be 4th of February or 3rd February, plus minus 1 year. And this is 10:33 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. Roughly about that is in a snake hour. Okay, so in the 4th pillar in the year 2023 is represented by Kui Mao. That's why next year is a rabbit year. Okay. And then the top element is water. So we call it water rabbit. Always in the manner of tiger wood. Okay. But next year, the wood will be very strong because the top also appear. February is a month of tiger. Okay. And also, there's a sequence how Chinese astrology the past Chinese astrology come out with the day, the month, the year, and also the hour one. I have a video on that also on the days on how they come up with the sequence also. Okay, in my YouTube channel. So the day itself is Kui Si, means that it's water snake, and the hour is Ding Si, is fire snake, and all these branch there, the 12 animals the rats, the ox, and all these actually it's just a coding because in the past, we use for agriculture, and most lay people don't understand all this energy. So to make it easier, we just use daily animals or farm animals like, rooster, chicken, rabbit, all this to represent. But at the back of all these 12 animals, they all carries an energy one. Okay, so I like to look at just the main energy rather than if Chinese metaphysics, some people will say, oh, why you don't look at hidden and all this? We don't have to regard the hidden. There are only certain circumstances to regard the hidden. Some masters, they like to put it in because they want to confuse you. They want you to learn further. That is the reason. Okay. So here, the main energy is, for the rabbit is wood. And tiger is also wood. Okay, tiger woods nothing to do with the tiger woods. Okay, so and then for snake it's actually fire because it's already in the summer month. Okay, so you can see and we look at this water. This water here will represent every living person on this planet. Okay, that means in Malaysia the rakyat Okay, so we all how we all relate to all these 5 elements around us. This will represent the rakyat itself, the people. Okay, so you can see the people here means that generally the people this energy of the people is quite weak one. There's only a little bit here. It's not grounded. Nowhere else you can find water. Only some of this here only. So there could be some alliances. This is the meaning of it. The people is quite weak. We have a lot of wealth. Okay, so a lot of wealth is not a good thing when you are weak because you cannot control your finances. you cannot control this one. That means wealth will become haywire one. A lot of fire, a lot of waste also, because fire burn with, you know, a lot of waste. So what you can see, you know, prominent in this chart, can somebody tell me? I talk for so long, so I need some interaction. So please give me some interaction that, you know, what are the elements that you can see that is strong in the chart? Yeah, very good.
Didn't know say fire. Wow.
Yeah, you know how to read the chart already. Very good for those. Okay, yes. Sinky is also correct. Wood. Okay. Oh, yes, Raymond Chow. Strong fire, strong wood. Very good. Okay. So, yes, true. So means that, you know, the wood is strong. Sorry, why this thing does not work? And then the fire is strong. So firewood, wood will create more fire, right? Not. And the water is so little. So it's actually very difficult for us to control the wealth. Very difficult for the general people, general public to control the wealth. And wealth will keep on, you know, like there will be a lot of waste, a lot of this one in the this one. Maybe there will be a lot of printing of fiat currencies and all this, a lot of things that they dump into the market. This is one of the things.
Yeah.
So
the US government just approved 1.7 trillion.
Again, they have nothing new to try except the printing money. All these cannot work anymore. Okay. So what happened is that wood and fire strong. And I want to explain the relationship with here the day masters. With them as the day master of the driver of this chart or the masters of this chart. The day is very weak. Whatever that the day that, you know, control, because water controls fire, right? Water controls fire, is the wealth element. Money, that means money is everywhere. Money is everywhere. It's not a good thing. It's money will go haywire in certain size because it's too strong. I think in generally, in personal finance, we also learn that we ourselves have to be strong in order to control the wealth. We do not let wealth control us. When you let wealth control you, what will happen? You will be out of control. Like those people suddenly, you know, struck lottery, become rich overnight one. Too much wealth, so they let the wealth control them. So their life also become haywire already. Okay, so this is actually, they are all related. Very interesting one when you look at this energy. So, and also fire, wood is also strong, and you know that water creates wood, okay. So water creates wood, means that a lot of creativity, innovation. At the same time, what is missing in this chart? Okay, now you identify all the strong elements. Next, what is, yes, cow, yeah, potentially, yeah, water is flood, yeah, because this year water strong, so you can see floods everywhere. Okay, yeah, next is that, what are the two elements that is missing from the chart? Please tell me. Anyone? Yeah. Yeah. Matter and earth. Yeah, correct. So, earth means that earth counter water, okay? It's actually represent government. Government is actually quite weak, you know, countering. And moreover, with strong wood that counter some more, so there will be a lot of chaotic, because all these output elements is also means that a lot of chaotic situation, a lot of, you know, a lot of things will be out of control. People will not listen because people are too innovative. And you have people too innovative, I mean, you have a child, even you have a child, when you brought up a child that's too innovative, it's very difficult to control one. So you have a lot of chaotic situation because they are very smart in, you know, in this one. In a lot of things, they are too smart for you, okay, in a way. Then matter also, matter means that matter creates water, right? So resources, no, almost disappeared. Supply chain also will have problem. Okay, I think this correlate with PC studies also. It's going to be a very bad year, especially if we are in manufacturing. I can tell you that, unfortunately. And also, this chart is also very dry because a lot of fire means that the weather is also not good. That means it will impact agriculture and food items will have inflation. Okay, money everywhere also means inflation. And this one also because we are in the last year of the period 9 of period 8 already. We are also transitioning in the new era period 9. And period 9 is actually era, also a lot of scammers one. There's one, again, empty the middle one. This also represents scammers. That's why I can start seeing scammers everywhere. I think I just received an email from Casey about scammers are using his identity because they're targeting you. You have a lot of followers. They target all those people who have a lot of followers. Even I, a small people, also people target my Telegram channel. Okay. So far, understand the whole dynamics of the chart itself and what is the outlook for next year. Okay. Yeah, I check the chat.
Yeah, so far so good. So there are questions posted in the Q&A, but I think we will get to the question later on, right?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So generally, in 2023 also, the Li Chun 4 pillar or the Bazi, just now that what I have gone through with you is the Bazi chart here. We call it the 8 characters chart. If you know the term of it of 4 pillars. Because of the 4 pillars, the Si Chu, the year, the month, the day, and the hour pillars. So we also can look at hexagram also. I also like to look at hexagram, which is part of I Ching. And yeah, so here also we can see a thunder. And this top part is actually the thunder. This is actually the lake. Thunder over water. What do you think? Okay, it looks beautiful, right? But it signifies danger. So it's not a peaceful year. And moreover, just now we see that the chart here, a lot of fire. Fire also means warfare. War also will intensify, in other words. So maybe initial first half of the year is okay, according to the Mother Earth prophecy. And that's another way of looking at the chart. My book, I stated all this also. Okay. So overall, for here, especially for cases audience, I think y'all would like to know how the outlook impacts the economic sector related to the 5 elements. First is the fire, technology, energy, cryptos. They will get a lot of attention. Everyone wants to go in. Crypto is also represented by fire. And next period 9 is fire. So crypto will be quite prominent. I will not say it's still volatile because that fire is volatile one. Okay. Fire is very volatile one. Okay. Sometimes it's quite difficult to control. So don't play with fire, in other words. And then wood, food price will go up. Innovation in education, there will be a lot of innovation in education because people generally it's a creative element of the year, so there will be a lot of innovation. So people will start to innovate, like both me and PC also innovate something new to bring to the market. Okay. And water represents logistic travel, so there will not be much attention because quite later water the activity compared to 2022. Then earth will be basically stagnant. Metal government also not good, and then maybe there's not enough supply of the things. You can see the top chain already start to have problem, but down chain still do not feel it, because if you are in manufacturing, manufacturing is actually the bottom of the supply chain, and sometimes the top one it will not really feel it until a few months later one. It's a bit slow one. I'm in manufacturing and in supply chain management, I know that also. Okay. So, okay, so my part has already complete. Then we will go to PC's part to talk about the preview of the economy and the financial.
Yeah, great. We have PC. So over to you, PC.
Okay. All right. Let me share my screen first.
You want to share your own screen, PC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, I think just a brief introduction for those who do not know me. I I actually work with Casey Lau on the IFS program, but I also have written 4 books. The Water Rabbit Year is actually my 4th book. Prior to that, my very first book was Invest in Foreign Share, which reached a popular top 10 non-fiction bestseller in August of 2014. And Invest in REITs was in 2016, and it went into its 3rd print. Now, both books are no longer available at the bookstores because of the number of years since then. I've not updated a new edition. Probably I will in the coming year or 2. And I wrote my first ebook in 2020, where I call it Global Economic Collapse, because based on the global financial situation, the amount of derivatives in the market, the global debt, slowing economy, slowing productivity. So I actually predicted there's going to be an economic collapse sometime in the future. And well, 2 years later, now we are seeing all this coming to a head. This is even much so because of the available of information right now that is at the click of a mouse. Okay, and because of availability of information is faster, so we are seeing a compaction of events or crises moving in a very narrow time frame. So everything has been speeded up. So besides that, I've also been invited by Bursa Malaysia to speak in some of their investment seminars for UOB, Kay-Hian, Hong Leong Investment Bank, RHB, Kanaga, and Inter-Pacific Securities. So I did appear once on TV, on Bernama TV, where I talked about cryptocurrencies. That was in 2018, just before it went ballistic. So if you want to follow my writing, which I write very frequently on Facebook, this is the link, or you can look at my YouTube channel, where I talk about similar things like Evelyn, because she has a channel, I have mine. So let's look at the preview of the 2023 economy. Now, definitely, I think we are going to face an energy crisis. As Evelyn said, that it's going to be energy being fired is very prevalent. I think the crisis will not abate. More so because the G7 and EU have implemented oil price cap on Russian oil. And they have just yesterday implemented a gas price cap. So actually, these countries are actually shooting themselves in the foot, because Russia is still the biggest producer. So that's why energy crisis will continue in Europe, especially, because what happens then will be China and India buying cheap Russian oil and then selling to Europe at a premium. Okay, so it doesn't benefit the European countries at all. And even if there is some negotiation to cool down the war in Ukraine, the G7 and EU have already stated that they will not lift the price cap. So this is going to cause imbalances in the supply, and that's why Evelyn talked about logistics as well. So when there's imbalance in the supply of energy, certain parts will have cheaper energy, certain parts will have higher energy. And if, let's say, Europe is like if we discount individual countries, Europe as a bloc has the 2nd highest GDP. So if, let's say, they have energy crisis, that's going to be massive inflation. Therefore, consumption from Europe's side will actually fall. When being the largest bloc of countries here with the 2nd largest GDP, if this happens, then it will actually cause economic slowdown in other developing countries as well, the emerging markets, because they have lost a major anchor of consumer. And of course, like I say, the US just printed more money, okay, and that will actually spur inflation. For those who are unaware, inflation is actually the expansion of money supply. It's not inflation is not all about prices, okay? Expansion of money supply is inflation, and price is a laggard that comes after. So it also comes at a moment when the US is having a declining production of energy. All the shale oil, all the shale gas, they are showing signs of rapid depletion. So that's why energy crisis will continue way into 2023. Okay, then of course we are going to have a housing crisis, as Evelyn say, Earth is stagnant, and therefore property is going to be pretty stagnant. But I think we are going to face a housing crisis. In fact, in one of Casey's webinar, which I did in the month of September, if I'm not wrong, I did mention about Europe debt crisis and US housing crisis 2.0. Okay, so housing crisis is because we are now in a situation where escalating interest rate will create higher mortgages. The mortgage payment will actually be much higher. And just as inflation is setting in, it's going to bring down the purchasing power of the consumer. So in the book, I actually highlight, about inflation. I also highlight about the household debt, and I also highlight about the current trend of US housing market. So all these three are actually interlinked. Okay, you can find out more if you have the opportunity to read the book. So because of rising interest rate, we are going to see people facing a lot of delinquencies, okay, in meeting mortgage payment. And even that right now in the US, auto loan payment is facing one of its highest delinquency. So what happened was a lot of people bought new cars or even used cars when their prices were at their highs between 2021 right up to the first quarter of this year. So they actually pay much higher for the car. But right now, second-hand cars or used car price is actually tumbling down. Okay, and the new cars are actually offering even greater discount, okay, to get rid of the inventories. When big companies are offering discounts to get rid of their inventory, it's already foretelling you that they are very worried about the economy. So what happened is that when people go into delinquency, next to come is financial crisis. If you recall, during the 2008 housing crisis, or 2007, actually, they have the housing crisis first. And if you remember, Ben Bernanke was actually saying that everything is contained. Now, one thing that I've learned in all the past 20 years is that never trust the Fed. They will always try to say that everything is topsy-turvy, everything is good. Okay, Ben Bernanke in 2008 said that the housing crisis is contained. So a year later, we have the global financial crisis. And just as Jerome Powell in 2020 said that we are not concerned about inflation. And then when inflation hits in 2021, it's all transitory. Right now, they are trying to fight inflation, okay, by forcing interest rate higher, even though the economy is already showing signs of decline. So, and of course, the most famous statement from Janet Yellen, when she resigned as a Fed chairperson, she said that never in my life will I see another crisis. So how can you trust the Fed? Okay. So all this thing is that they try to manage the narrative just to tell the world that the Fed is under control, but the Fed has already lost control. Okay?
Maybe they manipulate the data as well.
Yes. And the Philadelphia Fed just came out with a report 2 weeks ago and stated that the Bureau of Labor Statistics have overstated employment by 1 million jobs. So right now, the BLS and the Fed, they are fighting among each other. Okay, so all this happens when economy is slowing down and rising inflation. And inflation inflation will never, the Fed can never beat inflation as long as the US continue to print trillions of dollars to finance the government budget, because that's an expansion of money supply already. So that's why we will see stagflation, economy slowing down, okay, together with inflation. And some could even face a high inflation with slowdown. But Europe will be most vulnerable. In fact, some economists are predicting that Europe may go into a hyperinflationary depression, because right now Europe is already facing huge deindustrialization. Why? A lot of the major factories in Germany is already moving to China. BASF, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen. So they are moving to China because energy is too costly. And like Evelyn mentioned, metal is going to see a slowdown. Yes, because of high energy costs, major smelters in Europe are actually shutting operation, because to produce iron ore, you need tremendous amount of energy. So when energy is so costly, they prefer to shut down. And multiple European governments are right now building out troubled energy power companies or utilities companies who actually see a margin call on their hedging, because they never expected energy cost to the cost of oil or gas to go up so much higher. So because they hedge their position, right now there's a margin call. And Germany, I think another I think in France or somewhere in Europe, they are already building out the utility company because all their hedging has gone up in smoke. So Europe is the most vulnerable. Okay, and then there's going to be supply chain issue, especially semiconductors. So you are aware that US is saying that it's decoupling. They want to prevent China from achieving technology breakthroughs. Therefore, they are forming Chip 4 Alliance. They are having the Chip Act. Everything to do with containing China. Okay, of course, the issue is that when you have like US is trying to rebuild the entire semiconductor ecosystem in the US. Where else Japan, Korea, China, Taiwan, they already have their existing ecosystem. So, suddenly you're seeing multiplying of ecosystems that is going to sell to the market. So what will happen is that it will demand more resources, and therefore it will push prices. The cost of operating the semiconductor foundries much higher. And the thing is that when operating cost is high, but then you are not selling to China, which is the world's largest market, what will happen to those semiconductors company? Therefore, even though in the fire period, there is attention to technology, and the biggest attention will be on semiconductor, because this is an ongoing war. Not all sectors of the semiconductor will benefit, and the imbalances again, because of all this decoupling, imbalances would cause supply chain issue and jack up prices in certain areas, and will cause severe losses in some areas. And the other thing is that political turmoil, okay, due to rising costs of living and shortage of food, there'll be protests, demonstrations, and riots. And UK is now in the heat of it, okay? The NHS, the postal service, and the railway, so the rail service are taking turns to go on strike, okay? And despite all this, okay, despite the suffering of the people, okay, the UK have pledged another £650 million to support the Ukraine refugee program. The US have, is going to give 44 plus $1.8 billion to Ukraine. Even though US, number of middle class people are being decimated. So everything is driven towards a political objective right now, just like the containment of China. When everything is driven to political objectives, the economy objectives will fail. And that is why we are seeing a lot of things that are happening globally, like a lot of countries now are trying to get themselves out of the US dollars hegemony. Okay, now in the financial market, there will be a potential blow up in the debt market. Negative return on bonds due to sustained inflation. So imagine that some people they want to suggest that, hey, now's the time to buy treasury because the treasury yield is 3.7%, okay, for 10-year treasury. It has never been so high before because just previously it was just 0.5%. It's like it has gone up, the yield have already gone up 600%. But then if you are holding a bond which is paying 3.7% per year, whereas inflation is at 7% and likely will go up much higher, your return is actually, real purchasing power return is actually negative. And because of now just imagine, quite recently Japan, the Bank of Japan increased its benchmark of the 10-year bond from 25 basis point to 50 basis point. It may not look a lot to those people who track interest rate. Hey, it's just 25 basis point, 0.25%. That's not a lot, but concurrently, that itself actually half the value of existing 10-year bonds. Because the yield have doubled, the only rationale is that the bond price have to be halved. And what happened was the Japanese Securities Clearing Corporation immediately announced emergency margin call. So that could mean if, let's say, central banks continue to raise interest rate, what we'll likely see will be the bonds that they have bought to sustain the economy, like the ECB, like the US, they could face negative equity, okay? Because the only asset that they have that carries value will be, a lot of value will be the bonds. And if let's say bonds, the EU, ECB was actually, the 10-year bond was actually negative 0.1%. Right now, it has gone up by a few percent, by let's say, I think it was about 3% or 2 point something percent, but that is many hundred times higher already. So that means destruction of the bond value. When a central bank has destruction of the bond value, which is its asset, that will actually cause a depletion in its equity value. So there could be potential default by central banks. Some central banks may need to be recapitalized. Okay, some spelling error. So companies and individuals are vulnerable to this kind of financial chaos. And as I mentioned, during the good years of the last decade, companies, especially corporations, major global corporations, they have been borrowing cheap money to finance their share buybacks. So right now, what we have is a depleted market in terms of the stock price. And they now need to refinance at a much higher cost. And that is why companies' earnings are going to get hit very, very hard. The other thing are the individuals. As I mentioned, inflation in the US is so bad that the consumer or the household has already been having 20 consecutive months of negative real wage. So even though they increase 3%, okay, annually, or 4% annually in terms of average wage, but then inflation is 7%. So that means households are actually having negative real wages. So when you have negative real wages, diminish your purchasing power, you have to pay higher mortgage rate because you need to finance your house. And all at once, the cost of goods are actually going much higher. It is therefore not surprising that US household debt right now is at a new record high. So how much more debt can the household sustain? And when they cannot sustain it, they will go into default. Okay. So central banks are actually in a lurch, torn between fighting inflation and saving the economy. You cannot have a good economy while you raise interest rate to fight inflation. Because if you have higher borrowing costs, companies are not going to expand, okay, because there's no incentive to. Higher interest rate actually crimp consumption. When consumption is falling, there's no need for companies to expand their inventories because the retail sales will not be reflective of that. So they won't expand their production. And when they don't expand production, they don't invest in plant and equipment. They don't invest in training. So what happens is that productivity suffers. Now, productivity is the center of the economy. When productivity is high, it helps to bring the cost of goods down. If productivity is high, it helps keep the cost of it helps the consumer, because when productivity creates GDP growth, then wages would actually grow. And that's when consumer will consume more, leading to more investment in manufacturing. And then it becomes a very nice cycle where one benefits the other. But when you don't have productivity, the GDP would eventually suffer. So what do most governments do? They print more money, okay, incur more debt to boost, investment in financial assets, but not in real economy. And that is why throughout the last 10 years, we see the stock market booming, because they are the recipient of the inflated money supply. Everything goes into stocks, property, bonds, okay, cryptocurrencies. But when inflation hits, suddenly everyone is panicking, and that's why we see sell off. And even the cryptocurrencies, they actually have a very drastic fall. So the next thing is that all this would eventually lead to, in fact, the coming tomorrow, actually, we have a January session where we talk about what's in store for January. In fact, we are going to talk a bit on regulations on cryptocurrencies and the introduction of CBDCs. Now, in our book, we actually have a few paragraphs dedicated to talk about cryptocurrencies, challenges, as well as CBDCs. Yeah. So all these are actually on an economic viewpoint, okay, that through in-depth research that we have come up with, signifying what are the trends to look at. Now, the other thing is geopolitics. Now, there's going to be sustained conflict between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, my main concern would be eventually NATO involvement in Ukraine. Now, one of the key things is that because US would soon be moving its Patriot missile system into Ukraine. And Ukraine, although US say that they are going to train the Ukrainians how to operate the Patriot system, missile system, I think there will be quite a number of US personnel that will be in Ukraine training. So already there are mercenaries from Poland, surrounding Western Europe countries who are in Ukraine. So this is just like a reminder of the Vietnam War, where initially it was advisors, then military strategies, and then it goes full boots on the ground. So my main concern is that similar thing could happen, especially the US has set itself, and the EU is, it's like, our support to Ukraine will never waver. And that means that more money will be going into the black hole in Ukraine. So, of course, there's going to be tension in Taiwan Straits. It will go up a notch. And I think the pivotal year could be in 2024, although in 2023 there could be a lot of tension, because
Yeah,
2024 is also the election.
Yeah, the tension of Taiwan and China will be slightly further. I will have a YouTube video on that. When expected that China and Taiwan, judging from the astrology chart, that the tension will heighten. That one will be in the future. In the next few months, I'm going to release that video.
Yeah. So then, of course, there'll be conflict in Middle East involving Iran, and Iran is because, in fact, I think there's going to be conflict in Middle East simply because the Middle East is pivoting towards China and Russia. And recently, President Xi was actually in have a meeting with the GCC countries, which he encouraged them to start trading oil by using the yuan, okay, or renminbi. So and more Middle East countries are right now going to join BRICS, and the thing is, not even Middle East, in fact, African countries. So the other common thing about all these countries from Middle East and Africa joining BRICS is that significant number of them are actually OPEC countries. And just in time that the US right now is going to propose a no OPEC bill, which means no OPEC, okay, that is going to some sort of like criminalize them for manipulating the market. So if the US does progress with this bill, oil is going to skyrocket because they can get so mad that they say they are not going to supply. They will just supply to friendly countries, okay? So all these are the kind of geopolitics that is going to be at play in the coming year. And North and South Korean tension will continue to shimmer. I doubt that there is going to be any war between the two countries, mainly because I think the North is like a spokesperson for Russia and China. Okay, so anytime that that Japan or is trying to move forward with its containment of China policy with regards in cooperation with the US, then North will actually fire some missile, and then this is something like spreading the resources, because I think most countries knows that the US is pretty well bankrupt. Okay, they keep on printing money to finance their military, the government, and all those, and the if you look at the 1.7 trillion bill, you can see that there's a whole lot of support for the LGBTQT. Okay, the woke culture. I think the only thing missing is eventually they don't have LGBTQT, but they have QWERTY. So every alphabet on the keyboard will be there. Okay, so that is how things are actually progressing, and then very likely there will be gradual showing of a new BRICS reserve currency, and that will start off in Central Asia in cooperation with Russia and China before it moves into the BRICS country. Now, this new reserve currency will be commodities bank. In our book, we have a whole chapter dedicated to what is coming, so you can actually find out more from our book. And just to share a preview of a particular sector, okay, in our book, which is actually the US housing sector, and why I say that there is going to be a housing crisis. Now, if you look at this chart, the price of houses in the red have actually gone up quite astronomically. Now, this was the point where the housing crisis happened in the US, when mortgage rate peaked at 6.21% in December 2006. And subsequently in 2007, we have the housing crisis extending into the global financial crisis. Now, this is when interest rate peak. Okay, over here. Okay, this is when interest rate peak in blue. This is the cost of housing in red. So the difference between the cost of housing here and here is an increment of 40%. And interest rate right now is back below 7%, but at the time when I did this chart, it was at 7.08%. But it still is higher than the 6.21% when it triggered the housing crisis in the US. So if you look at this chart, you will see that, hey, mortgage rate have risen. The average price of houses have risen. So that means that monthly mortgage payment have actually increased much higher than during the period of the 2007-2008 housing crisis. So in fact, if you want, someone actually charted the differences. In fact, monthly mortgage payment right now is about 50% higher than they paid just before the housing crisis. So that's how much the difference is because of the increase in the average house price as well as increase in mortgage rate. So if at 6.21%, it can cause a meltdown in the housing market. What now it is where it is hovering between hovering about 6.5, sometimes to 7, depending on, how the Fed will actually increase its interest rate. So 6.21 it triggered. Right now it's definitely much higher, than 6.21. On top of that, at much higher house prices. So that's why this is one indicator. Now the other indicators is that the NHB index collapsed to 33 in November, and in December it collapsed another 2 points lower, which is at 31. So the NAHB index is a lead indicator because it is a measurement of home builders' confidence. If let's say home builders' confidence are low, that means that they are not going to add inventories into the market. In fact, new housing, new home sales actually shot up unexpectedly in the month of October and November. Now, the only reason is because the home builders are so anxious and so fearful of what will transpire that they are in a hurry to dispose of their inventories. So that's why new home sales actually went up. But if you look at existing home sales, they are actually tumbling down. In fact, they have tumbled more compared to these charts, which I actually published in the book. Okay, and the book also have a variety of charts that point towards a housing crisis in the US. So if the Fed continue to hike interest rate, okay, the affordability level will continue to drop, and therefore it will push the housing sector into recession. Now, the NAHB index is a measurement of home builders' confidence. At 50, it is considered an expansion, which means that they will continue to build, okay, to add on inventories, build more homes, build more new homes. But if let's say they contracted to 31 in December, that is already foretelling you that it's in deep recession. Okay, so this is how I use my research on global financial, geopolitics, and economy, and meet up with Evelyn's forecast of economic sectors and deriving our conclusion, which you will find very interesting. So Evelyn, you want to share this one?
Okay. Yeah. So the book itself consists of several chapters, 11 chapters. And what we have tell you about, there are more even in the book. For example, the 5 elements, the oracles for the next year. And then we also have industry performance from each of these 5 elements with opportunity, where to look at for you as well. Because we know that, there is crisis. Definitely, there will be economic crisis in 2023. However, with it comes also opportunity. So this book will tell you roughly where the it will tell you quite accurately where the where the opportunity are, a good accuracy of it. Okay, about 80%. I think nobody can guarantee 100%. That this is a disclaimer from our side. Then we also say that a global change is coming because of the period 9 or so. Okay, that is coming. So you can actually get this book from Casey Lau's. Casey has already dropped a link in the chat box of where to buy the book. Okay, later on I will also drop a link if you want to have a look at the free chapter as well. Or you can also actually get this book for free. Okay. I think next page. Who is driving the slide? Okay. Actually, you can also get this book for free. Okay, the good news is we will give you this book for free if you enroll in our membership, where every month we will do a prediction on what is coming on the next month. We have already done it for a couple of months, and all the energy does correlate until about 80% or 80+% accuracy. Okay, and what is coming and even the weather prediction, everything is quite accurate as well. So you will know, the forecast of each month as well. To have a forecast e-version, yes, we sell e-version of the book. Yeah, to have the forecast and to know what is going on will enable you, the foresights will enable you to make even better decision. So you will get the monthly content that we release into our, no doubt we release this talk into our YouTube channel. Later I will give you a link where to get our YouTube channel. And you will get, the monthly content 2 weeks ahead. That means every time after we have completed, maybe after a few days, we have do the editing, maybe 2 to 3 days, we will put it in a private area where only members can access. And after 2 weeks later, maybe towards the middle of the month, we only will release it to the YouTube channel, and you will get, the PDF slides of the monthly presentation, and you will get to, if you like what PC and I has presented just now, you will get more in the annual 2023, forecast Zoom session, which is only open for member. And this one will, of course, with the foresights, it will potentially enhance your investment decision. And also a private Telegram group for Q&A as well. Okay, so okay, later on I will give you a link where you can, also sign up for this membership. It has to be after you purchase the book, then we will offset. The membership price is 129, right? And the membership price is 229. The book itself is roughly about $890 USD because our e-publisher is in US. So we put the USD, it's roughly about 39 plus minus because of the fluctuation of the currency. So it's only $90 for the whole year, 12 months. It's even less than 10 ringgit per month. And I think 1 cup of Starbucks coffee will cost you more than that. Okay, I think next year will be even more, double. So you can get, this special information with the membership enrollment. Okay.
So Evelyn, if they want to sign up, is it they can sign up to the membership directly, or they have to buy the book first and then you have them have another link for them to upgrade?
Yes, they have to buy the book first, and then they will go to this form and upload the proof of purchase. The membership price is 90 ringgit. Yeah, okay, because there are 2 different platforms. Okay, so let me just share my okay. So next is that okay. Next also I have a free gift. Just now I think somebody put in the Q&A chat that what are the I think we need to mute somebody else. Casey can mute. Okay.
Oh yeah, so okay.
Yeah, okay. So we can, you can join my Telegram channel and you get this gift waiting for you for free. Let me share my screen what this gift is like. Okay, this is the gift I will have for everyone for joining the Telegram channel here. So it is a gift where you will get all the auspicious date for the Chinese New Year preparation, includes screen cleaning, hanging the red banner day, and then receive good energy like God of wealth, God of nobility, the time, the day, or say, okay, this one I reserve especially for my own clients, but today especially for Casey's audiences. And then also the date to commence work. I think somebody asked for that. And maybe some heavenly pardon day and career manifestation. So you will get these dates that to power up your 2023. Okay, so to get all these you need to go to, let me check. Okay, the link that Casey gives you is for the book. Then I will give you the link to where just one link on it, you will get everything else. Our social media channel, our this one. I make it easier for you because I lean up the whole process. Let me just put it in here, the chat box. Membership price is 90 ringgit per year. Okay, hold on for a while. I cannot. Let me just copy. Copy, paste. Yes. So what you need to do is that, can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you can go to this link here and then you will come here. Let me just put this away. You will come to here. Okay, you will come to how to get rid of this. Yeah, you will come to here. You will come to this website now. So I can download the free chapter of our book. The book, the link to buy the book, you click on all this.
Evelyn, you are sharing, we are still seeing your PDF, so probably you have to
okay.
share
So
again and choose the other one.
yeah. Okay, let me just new share. And then I will share the whole screen. Okay, share. Okay, can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just get rid of this chat. Okay, so what you come to this website, you can download, you click on this link, you will download the free chapter of the book, the purchase link of the book, and then the membership enrollment for the global trends, okay, is actually here in the form. Okay, and then we accept credit card now, because after you have filled in everything, it will point you to another link to the to check out the credit cards. And then here you can get our YouTube channel, PC's Mine, and our Facebook, our linking account. And then this is my Telegram channel to receive your free gift. Okay, and if you're interested in Chinese astrology, more of it, then you can seek me. This one I have, I have put in my name card, all the consultancy services. I don't print name cards because I'm quite environmental friendly, so I will just put it in the in the drive, and it will link to somewhere else. So this is the form itself, and what you need to do is, after you purchase, to capture the screen, you add in the file here, and then you can purchase the name card, the membership. Okay, yeah, so this is the whole process here, I think. Okay, so anything, any more things, PC or Casey? We will need to do the Q&A.
For those, there's one question from Narong.
Yeah.
Why water is small when the chart when the chart, the water signs appearance twice in day and year? Yeah, so perhaps you can answer that.
Yes. Okay, let me just answer it. Good question, Narong. Okay, very good observation, very good question. So why water is less compared to wood? Because here is heavenly stem on top one. This is rooted inside one. Whatever elements that is inside the branch will be very strong because it's rooted inside. So compared to what is on top one is just on top only, like floating only. Then moral water, this type of water is like clouds one. So they are quite weak the day itself. And then there's another one, a small one here, which is also not very strong because it's not rooted inside. It does not have a root inside to show that it's very strong. That's why the energy compared to wood and fire, it will be relatively weak already. And then metal and earth, almost you cannot see it. Although maybe I do not know whether maybe in the snake you can see a little bit of metal inside the hidden stem, but it's also very little. This is the meaning of it. Okay, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, there's also another question from Kim regarding the book. How many opportunities also depend on individual 白纸 luck cycle? So that question is posted. I think it's Kim is trying to link whether whatever sectors we say that are good prospects here for 2023, will it necessarily relate to the person's 白纸 luck cycle?
Okay, so good questions. Definitely it will have a relationship there, but however, it will also, what you need to do is the knowledge of, what are the opportunity in each sector first. This is number one rules, which is very important. Okay, so you are like even technology, some people, don't have that much of technology. This is why I also have a wealth reading. This is for another time that I also, you need to diversify your portfolio. Although individual might have affinity towards a certain element more, maybe you invest more in that, but you still need to have diversification, and you still need to have knowledge of other sectors as well. Not only luck cycle, but the whole parts or the whole energy chart. I term it as energy chart. Life energy chart does have an impact. That is very true, Kim. Okay. So I hope I answered this question.
So the other one is what should rabbit people focus on next year? I think they can join your Telegram channel to actually find out where I think you actually highlighted what are the things to avoid and such during next year, right?
Okay, yeah, that is in my astrology talk. I think it was in English. The night that we give the astrology talk. It's not for rabbit people. I have the 12 animal signs. You can always go to the 12 animal signs in my YouTube channel to look at what rabbit people's threat and opportunity. We will that is entirely another subject totally. So in the link I've given to you there's a link to my YouTube channel already. So you can see directly there is an animal sign. Okay, let me just quit this. Just quit this. Okay, so you can this one. Let me share this one. Okay, so in you can see here the forecast of the 12 animal sign. The answers are all there. And later on, I also, okay. So some more, any more questions?
I think in summary, next year is definitely going to be very volatile. And I think we need to a certain extent prepare ourselves for what is to come, because all indications are that things are really not so good. But I think for those who wants to have a more in-depth session, Casey and myself would be arranging a global economy outlook free webinar on the 14th of January, right, Casey?
Yes, 14th of January.
Yeah. So in that session, I'll talk a bit more to add more color to what we discussed over here. Yeah, so maybe hope to see some of you are over in the next IFS program.
Yeah, and then Kim also asked why will CBDC comes to Malaysia. I think that one maybe they can attend your talk on the 14th of January. I will also attend that talk as well.
Yeah, I think CBDC in Malaysia will not be so soon, because we with our government right now barely adjusting to the new situation. it will take time to actually look into the establishing the right sort of whether it's regulation or policy and such. But definitely the Federal Reserve in December has just launched a 12-week trial for the CBDC, okay, involving major banks in the US. But in the book, we actually highlight a lot more on CBDC, how it can be a bad thing, okay, but that's for you to find out from the book. On the overall, I think the only country that has been in the forefront of implementing is still China, whereas India just launched their digital rupee, if I'm not wrong, in 1st November, and Russia will likely launch theirs in April. I think what is most important is to know what the BRICS are going to do, because that would signify a transition away from the petrodollar. And any transition from the petrodollar would actually cause massive inflation in the US. And because the US wants to protect its rights for the US hegemony, they'll be waging war in a lot of, trying to waging war or instigate regime change in multiple countries globally. So that has always been the American cycle of their governance. Out of the US 253 years in existence, there are only 12 years where they were never at war. Okay, so that is why I think we really need to protect ourselves. Okay, but I think that the best hedge against all this is to at least own some physical precious metals. If you can't do that, perhaps in a savings account, or you can actually buy some gold or silver ETFs, because that has been demonstrated as the best hedge against inflationary cycle. I think we are going to go back to the 1970s inflationary cycle, where the cycle came in 3 waves. So even, like recently the Biden admin was celebrating, hey, inflation from 9% came back down to 7%. We should be celebrating. But actually, when it comes down, it will go back up again. Mainly because at that time the Federal Reserve will actually be a bit. They will slow down the amount of interest rate hike, but meanwhile monetary expansion is still continuing. Like the 1.7 trillion, it has to fit somewhere, and therefore it goes into the inflation. So that's why it's going to be, I think, compared to the 1970s, where now global debt is 350% higher than global GDP, it's going to be on steroids. Okay, and throughout the years, the US government has been tampering with the inflationary data or CPI data for, since the 1980s and 1990s. If you want to know the true extent of US inflation, I would suggest you visit a website called shadowstats.com. Shadowstats.com will actually outline that inflation in the US, were they to continue using the 1980s metrics of measurement, is actually in around 16 to 17%. So the reason why the government want to understate inflation is that it avoids panic in the market, okay? And the way that they measure the, like when they measure the real GDP, there's always what they call a deflator. That deflator is understated so that it results in a much higher real GDP. And for that deflator, normally they take away the core inflation is minus food and energy. How can you minus food and energy when food inflation is going to be high, energy inflation is still high, and they are the basic necessities of people. So that's how they manipulate it. Okay. In fact, my book Global Economic Collapse has an entire chapter dedicated to this kind of measurement of the CPI. So
yeah, PC has already already forecast that this is coming. That's very true. I think you published a book in 2020, right?
Yeah, May. So even at that time, I think in the closing chapter, I wrote that the COVID is going to be the a major black swan if, let's say, they fail to hold it within the borders of their respective countries. So anyway, you can find out more by buying our book, and hopefully you can join the membership to learn more and to have more constant flow of information from us. So that's all I have. Evelyn, you have any other things?
Yeah, I also hope to see you in the membership and area, because I think although you say that you ask you invest through a mutual fund or a banker, however, we cannot totally trust all this information anymore. We will need to have our own knowledge in order to make that decision also. So it's very important at this age, we need to have the correct information to protect what we have, our wealth, to sustain our wealth. This is what I want to say for the audience here. And thank you.
So thank you, Casey, for hosting us. Hope to see you on
Casey.
January 14th.
Thanks,
Okay,
Evelyn. Thanks,
Casey.
PC. So thanks everybody for attending, and thanks everybody for your time spent here. So happy New Year, and we'll see you again next year. Bye bye.
Happy New Year. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.